Want to introduce yourself?
I'm Elisa from the Agonist.
Okay, and you're from where?
Montreal, Quebec.
Okay. Now, how the Agonist isn't the first name you had for the band, is it?
No, we used to be called The Tempest, and then we changed the name to the Agonist before releasing our first album, but after recording our first album. And yeah, we just basically changed it because it was more original and meant something more, so.
Where did the Agonist come from, the band name?
Well, basically, I mean, we decided we were going to change the name, so we all kind of we all did, you know, brainstorming, kind of, you know, made all sorts of sheets with different words on it and different things. And, you know, I looked into different poems and things that I like, different authors that I like, sort of just throwing words together. And, you know, we narrowed it down to maybe like 5 different names. And then one of the words that I had was the Agonist, and it kind of stuck in my head. And then when I found out the meaning for it, I was like, oh yeah, that's the one.
What does it mean?
Well, there's like a couple different meanings for it. Like, one is in the literary sense, which I'm a big fan of, you know, I study English a lot, and like I'm a big fan of a lot of different literature and stuff. But basically you have in any story, you have a protagonist and an antagonist, you know, protagonist being the good side, antagonist being the bad side. And there's also occasionally an agonist, which is sort of the person caught in between good and bad. And our music has the melodic and the heavy, so it's kind of like representing that. And then in pharmaceutical use, an agonist is also a drug that's administered to induce feeling rather than an anesthetic type thing. And, you know, we'd like to think that our music and lyrics makes people feel and think. So,
Nice.
So yeah.
And how long has the band been together?
2004, so I guess 5 years about.
Okay, you got picked up by Century Media last year, 2 years ago.
No, we got picked up by them actually in 2006. So
okay.
yeah,
First album was 2007.
Yeah, we had
Okay.
already recorded it. Basically, they picked us up on that album. So.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And they don't have anything before that.
No, that was actually just a demo that we were recording, and then we were like, well, you know, we might as well just record everything we have. And then it was like, okay, well, this is kind of a full length now. And then Century Media heard it, and they were like, hey, let's release this. And we were like, I'm not going to argue that. So.
How have you been touring? You've been touring a lot for this record, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been touring pretty much consistently since March when the album came out. So, and we still have more plans to be touring after this, so we're going to be on the road for a while.
And how have your experience with that been? Is this the first national tour you've done like that?
No, we toured on Once Only Imagined also. We toured for like about 3 months straight, alongside Sonata Arctica, Overkill, Enslaved, Arsis, Epica, you know.
Nice.
And so we did quite a bit of touring for that one too, but then, you know, it definitely wasn't as long. I mean, we ended in the winter because touring in the winter is really dangerous. But which,
do you have any personal experiences to back that up?
Yeah, that's kind of how our tour ended. In Montana on the side of the mountain. So
What happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was driving, and basically, because you're in the mountains there, and it was November or maybe even December at that point. Yeah, so that was on our Enslaved tour, and we were all trying to make our way to Seattle. And you know, it was in the middle of winter, and all the bands were having trouble getting. A lot of them stopped, and they were like, okay, we're gonna miss our Seattle show, but it's better to miss the show and stop, because it was a huge drive. It was like a full 2-day drive, I think. So we had 2 days off. And blizzard hit. It was complete whiteout, like we couldn't see. I was like, I gotta get off the highway, My band was like sleeping in the back, it was just me and my drummer. And I was like, okay, like if you see an exit, tell me, because we couldn't see even like 2 feet in front of the van. So everybody at this point, even though it was the highway, was driving about like, you know, 30 miles an hour with the 4-way flashers on. And we couldn't see the exits until we were passing them. So we typed an exit into the GPS, which is like, whatever, next exit. But then the GPS was shutting out because the storm was putting out the reception, so we couldn't find the exits to get off the highway. And then all of a sudden the highway went from being flat to being downhill. And so we're in a van and trailer, right, which is basically a death trap. Our trailer didn't have brakes at that point. We started going down the hill, and I was like, okay, if I allow us to coast down this hill, like I was looking at my drummer, like, I don't know where we're going at the bottom. You know, so I was like, I can't even touch the brakes, because when I do that, the trailer doesn't brake, right? And so I basically I just tried to tap the brakes to get us to slow down, and then the trailer started going sideways, and it pulled the van off the highway, and then flipped over on top of the van.
It flipped over on top of the van,
yeah.
Wow.
Actually, in one of our webisodes on our MySpace, we have footage of it, and yeah. I mean, we were fine. Like, everyone was still asleep in the back, and they just woke up and they were like, oh.
Well, you didn't have to worry about it sliding anymore, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically, we had to go home after that because all of our gear was screwed up, so.
Wow.
Yeah, so that sucked.
And where was that?
That was in December of 2007.
Where?
In Montana.
Montana.
Yeah.
Of course it's Montana. Okay, so who writes the lyrics in the band? You?
I write the lyrics, yeah.
Does the band do the music? And you just...
Well, yeah, I mean, basically what happens is Danny, the guitarist, he will write a series of riffs and, you know, sort of write a song. He'll bring it to the band and, you know, Chris Kells, the bass player, he'll put his bass lines on it. Simon will put the drums to the song. You know, they'll sometimes restructure it a little bit. We haven't actually written with our new guitarist yet because he just joined right before he started touring, so we'll see how that goes. And then once they sort of have a song all put together, they, you know, do like a quick recording of it in our jam space. They pass that to me, I take it, you know, I write lyrics, I write the vocal patterns, the rhythms, the melodies, the harmonies. Sometimes I restructure it a bit too just to fit with, you know, my idea, and then basically I present that to them, and I mean, it works pretty well for us. Like, we've never really had any problems with it. It's like they give me a song, I give them back a complete song, you know, and so yeah, that's been pretty much how it works.
Okay, where do you get your lyrical inspiration from?
A lot of different things. I mean, I always write lyrics based on, you know, personal experience, but I always try to bring it to a more general level that other people can relate to it too. I don't write about, you know, I mean, I don't write about just anything. It has to really affect me for me to write about it, but, you know, something that I really strongly believe in is veganism, and so that influences a lot of my lyrics. And, you know, on this new album, I sort of wanted to keep a concept going throughout the entire thing and have a mood set, and I explored a few different kinds of, you know, a few different sort of structures of poetry that I could use. So there's some that are just more descriptive imagery type songs, and then there's some that are sort of stream of consciousness, and then there's other things that are, you know, typically how I would write lyrics. And so yeah, I mean, I pretty much just don't close myself in, I just write.